Montauk Fine Arts Fair, and I'm joined by this lovely lady who joins us all the way from Virginia. And this is Mint Schlief.
Yes.
And you have a very special talent. You're a jewelry designer.
Yes, among other things.
A lot of buzz about you in this fair of what you're bringing, because your pieces are very unique.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about you, the artist, and then let's look at some of these beautiful pieces.
This is a hobby that sort of got out of control. This is my fun job, and I have a real job. I am a kitchen designer by trade, mid to high-end kitchen and bathroom designer. And this is just something I started about 2 years ago. A little over 2 years ago, I learned to do it. And it got a whole lot out of control, and here we are.
You have a number of pieces that, for best to describe, signature pieces that represent your take on jewelry and art. Could you show us a few of those pieces?
This is a piece that I designed to go with a coat that I purchased when we were visiting in Thailand. And the swirls around it reminded me of the pattern that was in the coat itself, and the blue is the same color as the silk from that coat.
Inspiration comes from
everywhere.
From everywhere.
Absolutely. The wire talks to you, and you can be working on it, and all of a sudden something just pops up and it says, this is where I want to go and this is what I want to do.
Well, I see the beautiful necklace and the piece, but also earrings.
The earrings are actually Swarovski crystals, because I couldn't find the matching stones to go with the piece. But I frequently combine pieces and materials, and when I start with something, I have no clue where it's going to go. It just develops. I purchase stones or beads or anything. I've worked with arrowheads. I've worked with pottery shards that I collected from my last home in Virginia. Whatever, and I keep those, and then inspiration hits, and there we go. That piece is 3 cabochons of Paua shell that, to the best of my knowledge, have been dyed to those gorgeous yellow colors, and then it was embellished with gold wire and vermeil beads, and the asymmetrical feeling of it was just somehow needed to be that way. I tried it originally with very symmetrical, and somehow it was one of those pieces that talked and said, I want to be asymmetrical. Ernie, this was a piece that was published. It was the first collar that I had made of this type, and I was very fortunate. It was published in Art Jewelry magazine this past September. And it was with the thanks of one of my instructors. And she recommended that I submit it for publication, and I was very thrilled to have succeeded at that.
Mint, when did you start creating this great art?
I learned to do this 2 years ago this past February.
That's amazing. Well, the talent was always there, but the opportunity to have an outlet for the talent only came about recently.
It was totally by accident. I went into a bead store to purchase seed beads to make a collar or to make a necklace to wear with some Venetian pendants that I had purchased when we were visiting there. And I saw a wired cabochon and found out she taught the classes. I was fascinated by it, took a class. Here I am.
Of all the pieces that are represented here, and we've got so many that we can't do them all justice, which for you was the most challenging to create?
Probably the watermelon tourmaline.
Could you show that to us?
Up here. It is 5 pieces of tourmaline, and the challenge was to get them raised up without setting them in prongs and having it so that light could get under it. It wouldn't lay flat against the skin, and I did that by raising a platform there on the sides for it. And watermelon tourmaline is a very difficult stone to find in the full slice, and it is a stone that grows naturally in nature.
You've been admiring Mint Schlief's work.
It's absolutely magnificent. I'm from Florida, originally from New York, and I travel to a lot of these shows, and she is absolutely exquisite. It's the most beautiful jewelry that I've seen by an artisan. I would say they're museum quality pieces.
Well, we're so thrilled that you're part of this Montauk Fine Art Show, but we realize that there's a selection process to even be part of this, and you were selected because you are a unique artist. And your name?
Antoinette.
Antoinette, well, thank you for being part of this and giving us your comment as to...
And your kind words.
Well, if you lived near me, I'd really be in trouble.
Please move to Virginia.
Just may I have your card? I may make a special trip down there.
Mint, this is a very special piece for you. You call it your squash blossom piece?
It is, the inspiration for it was the Indian squash blossoms from the Native Americans. And I used sheet silver to make calla lily flowers, which are my version of their squash blossoms. And then the naha is, of course, not the traditional shape, but it is actually 4 pieces of labradorite, which is normally you don't see the really blue eyes that has. And that's one of my very special favorite pieces. A fun piece is this dragon, which is actually a cigarette lighter from Bali. And if you raise him up, you can see where the cigarette holder fits in his mouth. And I thought that was just such a fun thing when I found it. Didn't know what I was going to do with it, but bought it at the time and added some extra stones to it. And he's quite a conversation piece, it shows.
Mint, we're joined by some special guests here, aren't we? Who's this handsome gentleman?
This is my husband, Dean. And our Christmas present to each other, this is Flash.
Well, Flash has been the sensation of this Montauk Fine Arts Fair.
He's a sweetie, spoiled rotten.
Well, if you want to meet Flash, come by to Mint's jewelry exhibit here at the Montauk Fine Arts Fair. You are really a special artist. I hope we've done you justice. Your pieces are spectacular.
You're very kind. Thank you.